Hey everybody, this is Gainer Milky and this is Tea with Miss G. And this is a episode on I guess it really touches all areas of our conscious success plan for life. But it's about the danger of believing what isn't true. And this is something that um I've become very interested in through my own life and I sort of began this quest for stepping back from the danger line of not believing what isn't true and reclaiming my own truth about 10 years ago when I realized that really everything that I was living was not in alignment with who I actually was. And that's kind of a bold statement to say, but I really had done myself a disservice by believing and kind of going along with what other people had said or were telling me. And I think that that's something that really spurred the ideas around this YouTube series because I wish that I'd had ways of kind of piecing things together instead of, I didn't even think about looking outside of my relationship for really a truth check. I had been to my own therapy and I sort of just accepted that things were the way that they were, but it was actually pretty abusive. And it took me a long time to start to heal from that and then make some decisions when I realized that, my life was wasting away and it was, my self-worth and my identity were really being eroded. Um, to somebody who was unconscious and not willing to do the work or to listen even um, on the need to make some changes for things to continue. So I think that that was a real wake-up call for me when I started exploring some different things, different ways of thinking. Um, but that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody's going to come along with you. And that's where some people feel entitled to do whatever they're going to do, but that doesn't mean that you can't be empowered to make different choices. And while that sounds very simple, a lot of times because of the way that our society is structured, and I believe it's I guess it's a narrative that is a disservice to people, is that longevity is the goal in everything. Like a career should be long. Otherwise, if you're switching jobs, like that's a negative. I think that's becoming less so now, but the same with divorce or ending relationships. Everything's supposed to last forever, and that's just not necessarily the case. And things shift and evolve, and the one area that I do think permanence is important is in parenting, because your kids didn't choose to be put on this earth, but you do owe them care and uh love for as long as you're on the planet. That's in my opinion. And the same thing with business, really, is that we tend to think that a business is not successful if they have to make some shifts and moves along the way. So I think that in any regard, your worth in any area of life should not be based on your ability to withstand toxic behaviors and situations. And in fact, you're much more worthy when you align with your own um, internal values and beliefs in order to move everything forward to where it needs to be. So there's really just a few thoughts on ending the era of entitlement and that you're not entitled necessarily to have a relationship that lasts forever. You're not entitled to have a business that um, is always successful in the same way it was successful, in the past. And when it comes to uh, love, you're definitely not entitled to expect that somebody else is always going to do the things that you want, and that you should both be empowered in it. And I would also say you are entitled, as far as your identity goes, to also evolve it and to make it um, what you want it to be. So if you want a different type of identity, then you can make the changes and do the deep work to make that so. And it's really that's what the journey of life is it's, empowering who you are, I believe, to show up in your best place and as your best expression of yourself in the world. So that's just a little extra spot of tea today because I've been doing a lot of writing, and you'll see some of that come out soon that I wanted to share a few more thoughts.